Good morning, everybody. This was just what I was looking at a second ago. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. How's it going? So, weird stuff happening with the chat. Now, I think it's probably because I scheduled this stream. And the reason I scheduled is because that's what the Banggood guys asked me to do so that they can have a link so they can put it on their site and stuff. And I think that may be the reason that there's some sort of dissociation between the chat and the screen. So we'll see if we can, we'll see, whatever. Maybe no chat shows up on the screen today. Somebody just came home. I can hear him in my house. How's everybody doing? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Oh, this Zigbee. 4Tracks was wondering if anybody's here. All right. We got the new stream subscription graphic working. We'll do this. I'm going to read through some chat for a minute. How's everybody doing? All right. Vroom, vroom. Notification. All right. What is with Zigbee? Oh, those Zigbee. Going to finally make your first live stream. All right, Paul. Welcome, welcome. We're going to do uniforms for Paul, too. We're just going to party at the beginning here. Looks to be a reminder. We just have to wait. Oh, yes. I wonder now. Oh, no, there it is. Good old Banggood. I wonder if is that working now? Shh, I'm working. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. We don't want to get you in trouble. How's everybody doing? Well, welcome everybody who's new, and welcome everybody who's always here. Thanks for being here, as always. All right. I still have the same haircut. Yes, Eric. I don't plan on it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. So, I did a bad thing. But it's not real bad. It's just kind of oh boy, kind of bad. I worked the night shift last night. So I worked not all night, but I worked most of the night. And then they do have like a little bed for us to lay down in if there's not surgeries happening. So I laid down there for a little bit. I slept a few hours. I don't know how many, but I slept a little bit. And then I woke up, and before I came home, I swung by the little vaccine station at the hospital and got my second dose of vaccine. So not only have I not slept, but I just got the second dose of vaccine. My arm's not doing too bad, but if I begin to like shiver and shake and just fall apart partway through the stream, I have several excuses. Oh, man. Walter, what's that solar inverter? The solar inverter that I am using is Solar Edge. This data is coming from not the Solar Edge API, although you can get the Solar Edge API and Home Assistant linked. This is actually coming from PV Outpost. PV Outpost, I think it's called. Which pretty much no matter which solar inverter you have, you can upload to PV Outpost and they can download, and then you can download it to Home Assistant. And then the other part is from the what do you call it? This power monitoring in the house. PV output. I always say that, don't I? Denvin, I always get that wrong. Don't you normally fall apart partway through the stream? I usually do, Tom. Yes, I usually do. Today, it just might happen a little earlier, that's all. Upgrade to Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper. Here we are. All right, well, as you may have seen in the title, I got a few, I don't have a few new toys. I have one really good new toy that the folks at Banggood sent me, and I'll show it to you. You ready? Let's talk about it for a minute. So it's this guy here. Have any of you guys have one of these? It's like a gimbal and a mini camera, like all put together. Pretty cool, right? So the gimbal part spins around. What's that notification say? Oh, no SD card. Yeah, the SD card is in the computer right now. So Zach's been doing a lot of my filming, and a lot of the videos that I've been doing lately have been like, oh, I'm going over to my brother-in-law's to install something, or somebody else's house to install something. And the last few times we've just used my phone, and it's okay, but we wanted to try something better. And so the Banggood guys, pretty much every month, they're saying, hey, check out, find something on the site that you want and let us know and we'll send it to you. You can talk about it in the live stream. So, what can I say? I'm a bit of a gadget whore sometimes. But anyways, we've used this a little bit and it's been pretty good. it's been pretty good. It definitely takes nice looking video. The gimbal part works great. It's got lots of good controls, so you can manage it like this with a joystick, you know, so you can kind of go up and down and move around and stuff. If you click it twice, it homes back to the middle. So if I've moved it around and I click twice, it's supposed to go back to the middle. Oh, maybe it's only if it's recording. Anyways, with some clicks of this, must have to be recording. And oh no, I'm sorry, I pushed the wrong button. So if you push this power button twice, it goes back to the middle. So you got it moved up here, moved over here. And then if we click the power button twice, zoop, moves back to the middle. And then if you want to go selfie cam mode, you push it 3 times. Zoop. Hello. Well, hello. And it's supposed to have some kind of face tracking. Like, look at that. I don't know if you can see that, but when I move it around, it keeps my face in the center. I don't have to do anything else. That is pretty amazing, right? That's pretty awesome. The demo effect strikes again. Oh, have I said the price? The price, it's actually on sale right now, and there are links in the, they put it on, I don't know if they put it on sale for me, but I want to say they did, so we'll say they put it on sale for me. But there's links in the description down there. I think it's like $170 or something. Not bad. Not bad. It's not, as far as I know, it's not waterproof or anything. But you know, for a little 4K camera like this, oh, now it lost my face. That's so cool. That face tracking stuff is just awesome. I love it. What else was I going to tell you can do? You can take pictures. You can do time lapse. You can do slow-mo. This is doing 4K 30 frames per second. It can do 60 frames per second, but not at 4K. So it depends on what kind of thing you're doing, what you want it to do. We'll look at some footage here in a second. So that's the camera part. Really very excited about that. Like it a lot. It's got a microphone jack down here, and that's also where you charge it. It's USB-C, and then SD card over here. The built-in microphone, I think it's up here. It's not great. It does get some sound. Oh, Howard, that's a good question. I don't know. I wonder what we're going to talk about this object recognition a little bit today too, because I've been working on that with Home Assistant, along with Lewis. And I would expect that it has more to do with the shape. And as long as there's a color contrast between the face and something else, it would work. But that's a great question. I don't know. Is the battery replaceable? Good question. I don't think it is. I don't see a way to unscrew it and get the battery out of it. The battery, I'm not sure how long it lasts. I want to say it didn't last as long as I would have thought it could have, but at the same time, I wasn't using it. Zach was running around the house playing around with it. So I don't know how long the battery really lasted. I just know that when I sat down to look at it today, it was pretty dead. Move the disk E. Let's grab some of these videos that Zach made yesterday. Oh, and I didn't set the date and the time, so I don't know. Let's see. I don't know what. Oh, yeah, this is me. So here's the camera. So this is the footage, and you probably can't hear the microphone very much. The microphone is a little bit dulled. So I would definitely recommend you get the microphone or a microphone to go with it. And I did. One of the links you see in the description there is for this lapel mic. And then I think if you got any other kind of a microphone and just a USB-C to microphone jack, you could use a different microphone with that as well. And then the other thing that I got is this guy, so that you can, for one, you can put it on a tripod. This little guy here has a little screw thing, and this thing fits in here. Right, and then it goes in a tripod. But also, what I thought was even cooler was that with this guy, you can like clip it on your backpack or your shirt or something like that, and wear it to do other things. So I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty cool. Let's look and see what else. Zach did some more stuff. Let's look and see. This must be the one he was wearing the microphone Okay, there's Zach going on a house tour, and he's got the microphone on. So he said he was going to go around and talk about all the things that around the house that don't work. I don't know if you can hear that or not. Can you hear that at all? If you want to ask a question, do this. What's the right way to ask questions? I always get spoiled by having my questions answered. Shark Tamer, if you do ~ask, and then your question will go in a specific, yeah, it's too quiet to hear. I can hear it okay. And I would have to tinker around with it in my editing software to see how good the sound is. But it sounds actually decent. I think with that sound, we could make a good video out of it. It's better in good lighting, that's for sure. Is that being uploaded after the live? No. Well, I might use this for some things because I asked him to go around the house and talk about things that don't work. If it sounds like he's underwater, it's because what you're hearing is it like through my speaker over here.
The toilet is
there, that's probably
broken.
better, right? Now you're getting it directly.
That might not work very often, but when they do it, it works.
Is that much better? Yeah, good.
It's more like you just need to hit the button again, and it'll fix itself. Yep. Oh.
Nope, you got to hold it, Zach. You got to hold the button. For some reason, that particular shade, you have to hold the button for it to go up and down. I don't know why that is, but that's what it does.
Yeah, quite a few holes, as you can see.
Quite a few holes, he says. Stinker.
Oh, look at this sexy man right here. Anyway,
if there's an echo, it's because it's also playing on my speakers out here, out loud. So we'll let him go through this, and then I'll answer some questions about this stuff, and then we'll move on.
I'll do it later, Mom.
I think the audio is synced. I think what you're seeing might be just an artifact of, you know, it playing on my computer and coming back through the microphone or whatever. One big long question. If you plug the mic on USB-C, I don't think you will be able to charge it with an external battery. Is that right? Good question. Probably not. Not while you have the mic plugged in. Unless you have some kind of a splitter. You know, maybe there's a way to splitter it. Put a splitter so that you can charge and do mic. I need to get the USB to microphone jack adapter to see if other microphones will work with it. But for now, the lapel mic is pretty good, and probably any USB-C mic will work. Hey, Sir Goodenough. How you doing, buddy? Thank you, Jorge. We do like our house. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, no.
So you'll see more footage like this. Oh. Well, hopefully with, you know, this... more stability and things like that. Oh, and then he started getting in trouble. You can't hear this.
That's right. I was going to talk to him about one of the assignments.
Yeah, this is now Zachary getting in trouble for not doing his homework and getting bad grades. So this was Janice harassing him. There's Zoe doing a dance.
That is not true. I have done plenty about it.
She's practicing her beam. That's her beam routine for gymnastics on the beam.
0.8? Yep, that is because I have not.
She does not know she's being filmed right there.
Because I was focusing on math. Don't look at my math grade.
That's not funny. That's for a junior.
Yeah, but...
And then I think I come down and yell at him. But anyways, so fun times, fun times. Oh yeah, he did this. This was some birds out by that are outside. So it does much better in the bright light. I don't think it's great for dark light. It adjusts okay, but if you have some bright light in the footage, it doesn't mix the two very well. Battery life, 240 minutes, 1080p, 30 frames per second video record time. What's that flag? Arizona? Yeah, that is Arizona. That's where Jackson is. It's our oldest boy. He's in Arizona. Hey, Friday, right, Mike? I know, crazy. Zach said as he was walking here, he slipped a couple times in this kind of snowy, icy stuff, and you don't even notice it on the camera. So it does a really good job of managing the bumps in the road and such. So doesn't have a great dynamic range. Yeah. Good enough. You have to be just mindful of your lighting. For 170, right there, I think he slipped. So maybe you can tell a little bit, but isn't that pretty? What a pretty place. We're so lucky we live here. I love this place where we live. Awesome. 60 FPS at 1K and 2K, they state. Would be cool. 2K is more than enough. I should give it a try. Jake says, have I heard of twinkly lights? I have. I've seen twinkly lights. I've seen them at CES. I think the last 2 years they were at CES. And I guess now they're even selling them at Home Depot. So they have a cool app. I think, the way that they let you map out stuff on their app is pretty good. Your snow is still good. Snowed here a few days ago, but about half a day before it was just squashed into slippery ice everywhere. Oh, ours is still pretty good. We hopefully are going to get some more snow before too long. Zach and I don't know who else. They're going to go skiing tomorrow, and he wants to take at least one camera. So I'll probably let him take, I don't know if I'll let him take this one or not, but I'm going to let him take a camera so he can get some good ski footage while he's up there. It's cold out there. My handsome boy. He's a good kid, that Zach. We like him. Oh, it's like he knew I was talking about him. Okay. All right. Well, that was fun. So the links to the camera and the accessories that the good folks at Banggood provided for me are in the description. They're on sale for the Chinese New Year celebration stuff. Oh, thanks. They're good enough. So if you're looking for something like this, it's a pretty good price. You're probably not going to find a better price for a while anyways. And in the 4 or 5 days I've had it, it's been pretty good. I've given you my honest opinion of it, what I think it does well and what I think it's probably not so great on. I think the downsides would be the microphone. The onboard microphone's not super good. And I don't know about the battery life. It feels like the battery didn't last as long as I would like, but I don't know. Otherwise, as far as the video quality and as far as the function of the gimbal and some of those things and the price, it's great. Can't complain. All right. Okay. Let's answer some questions real quick. Let's do that. And then we can talk about whatever comes up. I can tell you guys what I've been working on the last couple days and what that's turned into. Somebody asked, can you plug a mic into it? We talked about that. Yes, you can. USB-C mic. Where do you put the LED strips on a unit like this? In the IKEA. I figured out LED strips, but I still always have trouble with the actual design on where they should be installed. Let's take a look. Somebody's asking specifically about a unit like this. Where would you put the lights? Well, I don't know what it looks like underneath, but I would put them up underneath here. Probably, I would put them towards the back. I would say either towards the back or towards the front, depending on what you're looking for. I would put them towards the back, I think, myself. So I would put them on the underside up here on all 4 spots. And then you could even like separate it up, use WLED and separate it up in segments. So you have one segment for each one of these. And then, they could be different colors at different times and be running different effects at different times. If you're talking about doing, those fully addressable LEDs. So that's what I think. Off the current topic, nothing's off the current topic. Could I power inject using T-Tap quick slide connectors? I believe so, because I've used something similar. Yes. Yeah, you sure can. Not those probably so much. Well, maybe do those go with these? Let me see. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That should work. I don't know what the current rating for these are. It's probably low, but you probably, in most cases, you're not going to be running more than 5 or so amps through any power injection spot. But that's the only thing I would be a little concerned about, is how much current can they pass. But I would not be surprised if once you connected them, if they were the hottest spot, if you put a little camera on there for thermal detection, how hot they are, how hot the wires are and all that stuff, this would probably be one of the hotter spots wherever you have a connector like that. Because that it's probably got a little bit of resistance. I don't know, although I don't know, it could be. That looks like a pretty good piece of whatever. Copper tin plated. But anyways, yes, I would feel totally fine using those myself. Let's turn on dark mode so I don't blind everybody and myself. There you go. All right. Another question from Howard. Will you be doing a video series on your solar setup and solar monitoring setup? We're getting solar through the government. I'm so excited. That's awesome, Howard. You know what? I will probably do it. If I do something, it will be as part of the Hobbit hole build. Yeah, that's probably what it will be. It's part of the Hobbit hole build. I don't know if I'll do a video about my own. I could probably talk about it during the Hobbit hole build. Worldwide shortage of silicon making for chip shortages, increased price for electronics. Oh no! Yeah, that's right. Sir Goodenough's got a great answer for you there too. Put them in a place where you can hide them. Okay, cool. All right. Well, should be rated for the wire size it's made for. Yeah, I would think so. I just know that when I've looked at other connectors in the past, it's typically the connectors that are the weakest link as far as current. But yeah, you're right. It should be. If it's allowed to, or made to clip into like a 20 gauge wire, then it should be able to carry the same amount of current as a 20 gauge wire, right? The boo was to stop my hippo. Stop my hiccups. Thank you. Oh, hey, Jerry. Hey, Johnny. I use the T-Tap and they're good. They work great. Yeah. It's probably really easy, right? Rather than like stripping the wire and clipping it and all that stuff. You just clip, plug, done. One would think so. One would like to hope. This was the thing I was going to test. This was what I was going to get one of these and see if this would work for a microphone for that thing. Just an adapter, USB-C to microphone. But I haven't bought it yet. All right, so let me tell you guys. Let me tell you what I've been working on the last couple of days. You ready? It's time to talk AI and camera object recognition. Object detection, object recognition. I think I would call it object recognition. So, I've been doing this class with Mark Rober, right? And everybody knows Mark Rober. He's the glitter bomb guy, and he's the iPad where you can see, iPad in the front and the back, you see through, and he's done a ton of stuff. He's a really cool guy. He's super genius. We're like best buds now, me and him, like we hang out. It's cool. I call him my dude and he calls me, who are you again? Anyways, I thought that was funny. So, anyways, been doing this Mark Rober class, and we're at the tail end here. And the last project that we needed to do was had to have something to do with a habit. And best buds, yeah, me and Mark. Anyway, so it had to do with a habit. You had to identify a habit. And I may have talked about this on Sunday. I can't remember for sure. But the habits, I went through like the brainstorming part of the habits. And I thought about, okay, what are like the really important habits? Really important habits are like exercising, eating, getting enough sleep. And then things to me is like positive thinking, like not thinking negative. Like those are like the big and heavy important things. But I thought, as I was thinking about like trying to tackle some of those habits, I felt like I'm just not ready to commit to something that serious just yet at this point. So I went back to something a little more fun and lighthearted, which was the dishes, doing the dishes. I thought, okay, what if we had a system that if there were dishes in the sink, it would turn off the internet in the house. And when the dishes were done and the sink was empty, the internet would turn back on. How does that sound? Sounds great if you're not a kid, right? So I did it. I did it. You want to see how I did it? The first step was being able to control which devices are connected to the internet. I am a bad person, aren't I? Where's my evil laugh? Yeah, my kids were not very thrilled about that at all. But anyways, I found the Unifi component or integration in Home Assistant. So let's look at integrations. And there is a Unifi integration. So, if you don't use a Unifi router, if you use something else, then, this isn't going to work so well probably. But it's going to say, hey, you already installed it. But there's a Unifi. Oh, it's going to want me to try and install it again. But it's down here. I don't need to install it again. Right here. Ubiquity. So in here, you can do some things. If you just connect it to you connect Home Assistant to your Unifi controller, the first thing that it will do is just give you, what is it? It gives you like a sensor. Is it just uptime sensor or something like that? It gives you, let's look at this. Oh, detection. It gives you presence detection. So I think it was initially it was for presence detection, right? So that's what it did. And that's great for things like phones, right? So if the phone is on your network, then you know that person's home. If the phone is off your network, then they're not home. So initially it puts up just presence detection for everything. But then in the config here, if you go to options, it will let you, so I turned off all this tracking stuff because I don't care. But then if you continue on, it will let you this. You can go through here and you can connect, or you can choose switches. So this says create switches for serial numbers you want to control network access for. All right. So I can go through here and I can choose any devices that I want to create a switch in Home Assistant that will control the network access for that device. So if I pick like the Roku here, that will make a switch in Home Assistant. And when I switch it off, that device is cut off from the network. Okay. And when I switch it back on, it works. Do you need the USG to do this? USG. No, I'm using it on the UDM. I'm doing it on the Dream Machine. I believe it works on any Unifi controller. So you could use it if you're using the add-on probably for Home Assistant, because there's a Unifi controller add-on. But if you have the switch, like you're saying, is that what the USG is, the little switch? I'm using the UDM, which is the little pod thing that comes with one access point. But you can also, I'm sure, use any of their controllers. So this is where you can read more about it and what it uses and stuff. There is an issue if you're using Unifi OS. I don't know what that is. I haven't noticed a problem yet in a conflict with MQTT, but it automatically does the presence detection, and then you can do switch to block network access for clients. And then there's also a uptime and bandwidth sensors that you can turn on. And when you're setting that up here, so once you select all the devices that you want to create a switch for, then the next step is bandwidth usage sensors for network clients. So this will create a sensor that tells you, how much bandwidth the device is using, and an uptime sensor. So then if I go in here, find these 133 devices, if I go here, like here's a Mac. This is I think this is the computer over here. This is an old iMac that the kids use for stuff. So it's transmitted this much. It's receiving, I don't know if that's total or whatever. The uptime is 2,665 weeks ago. And this is the switch. If I switch that off, then it goes away. Poof, goes off. I hear you got another culp on the way. Yeah, I do. Thanks, Tech Turtle. I think it was Stubbs that talked me into it. Stubbs and Justin Z, I believe. Okay, so this was step one. Step one was, how am I going to turn off specific devices? And this is really cool. I don't know how long this has been available, but I've wanted, since I got my Unifi controller, to be able to control devices and be able to turn them on at a certain time of day and turn them off at a certain time of day. Now that I have a switch for network access control on individual devices in Home Assistant, it's not going to be just for when the dishes are done or not. It's going to be for, are your chores done? Is homework done? Whatever else we can think of. Are you just being kind of a pain in the rumpus and you need to have some time out from, I can just go in here to Home Assistant now and click and turn it off. Oh, maniacal laugh, maniacal laugh. Hey, Thomas, you got here before Adios. That's right. I started early just for you, man. Just for you. Hey, thanks for, I saw you were working on some stuff with blueprints. Thank you for, like, I think making it a little easier to select and find them and some of those things. I just was browsing the release notes for the beta, for the most recent beta. So thanks for what you do. All right. So there we go. Step one, part one. I've got my control for internet access for the devices, and I got a switch for every Xbox, which we have three. I think we have 3 Xboxes, 2 PCs, 2 Mac computers, 2 Mac laptops, plus 2 iPads and 4 phones. And I connected all those. Now the phones, don't tell the kids, but the phones, if you turn off the network access, it'll just go to their, LTE or whatever, their 4G, data. So don't tell them that. But it will work for at least the computers and the Xboxes and stuff. So now the next part was, how do I recognize whether or not there are dishes in the sink? For this part, I got to give all the credit in the world to Lewis. Lewis from Everything Smart Home. Are you here, Lewis? Lewis is in Scotland. And I talked about him on the stream last week. This fella here. If you haven't subscribed to Lewis, do so now. He is quickly going to be, he's going to be the next guy to pass me in subscribers here pretty soon. There he is. Lewis is here. When you get a chance to take a look at the round table. Okay, will do, Ikafar. Do I need to, during the stream, is it something? I'll peek. Okay, I'll go through it at some point. Is it a bot problem? Oh, they turned on the premium features. Sons of monkeys. Is that what happened? Dirtbags. Dirtbags. I am getting close to 100,000 subs. We're getting there. We're getting there. All I need is everybody who's subscribed to Lewis to subscribe to me, and then we'll be there. So anyways, Lewis has a video about how to set up object detection. This one right here. And it's really good. It's really good. Now, he does walk through how to do it with Docker, but you don't have to do it with Docker. There is an add-on for Home Assistant for dudes. We talked about that before, but I didn't actually install it in the past. I didn't install it before. But if you look for dudes, there is an add-on for it. I think you have to add the custom repository. It's not part of the built-in or the community add-ons. It's a different repository. I can give you the link. Man, Home Assistant is sluggish. It's really time to make the transition. I got to really just buckle down and just start moving stuff over because it is just, it's a lag fest here sometimes. Oh, it's burning my eyeballs. Stop. Why is it so, why did it do that? Ugh. Gross. What is with this? There we go. Oh, goodness me. All right, where are we at? Dudes, here it is. The repository for Snowzack. I don't remember. Here it is. No. Is this the one you have to put in there? I can't remember what the link is. That. Is it dudes? I didn't think so. He's got a repository that basically says this is, HAS.io add-ons. So I think this is the one that you need to add. So I'll put that in the chat here. There you go. So you got to add that as a custom repository here. So if you go to the add-on store and you go over here, repositories, I guess you can see it here somewhere. I don't know what order it puts it in. Here it is. Snowzack. Yep. GitHub, Snowzack, HAS.io -add-ons. So you add that here. And when you do, then you'll get these options. So I chose this one, dudes. And it was really pretty easy. It didn't really take very much. I don't think I had to put anything special in the config. Actually, I don't think oh, did I change this? I can't remember if I changed that or not. I don't think so. I think I did the config in, I just did whatever Lewis did. I don't remember setting it here though. I don't think I set anything in here. No, I did not set anything here. So I just turned it on at this point. I didn't have to do anything here. Where I set it up was in the, basically in the configuration.yaml, which for me is all packaged out. So you have to set up a image processing YAML. And here, the image processing, and Lewis tells you how to do this. He'll walk you through it. You just follow Lewis. I was pretty proud of myself that I got it mostly working before I asked Lewis for specific help. So you set it up here. You make a file or an entry for your configuration that's image processing. Platform is dudes. The URL is your Home Assistant URL, wherever you're running dudes. The detector for now is default. We may change that to something else. I set my scan interval to 5 seconds. I was anticipating somebody asking, can I run this if I'm running a Pi? If I'm using Home Assistant on a Pi, can I run dudes? I would love to hear what Lewis thinks about that, but or anybody else who knows. I would bet that it would struggle, and I would definitely put the scan interval at something pretty high to give it some time to process each time. So if you have a Pi, let me know if it's working or not. Maybe somebody already has said so in the chat. I have a Raspberry Pi 3B, want to move everything to Raspberry Pi 4. Is there a simple method? Yes. Search to see how to do that. Thanks. Yeah. So when you start up do a snapshot of your Home Assistant, the whole thing. And then when you are starting up your new Home Assistant on the Pi 4, when you reinstalled and are starting up new, you can just import your snapshot that you took from your Pi 3, and it should be pretty flawless after that. You may have issue with an IP address for MQTT and things, but I'm not sure about that. Okay, then you have to tell it the source. Where is it getting the image from? In this case, it's getting it from this camera. And then where are you going to save it to? I'm just having it saved to a JPEG file. And I've thought about making a template of this, especially since we're trying to collect a bunch of images, Lewis, right? I think I'm going to just make this a template so that it will just change the name every time, or put the time in or the date, whatever, every time it takes a snapshot there. So we have several to look back at, but I haven't done that yet. And then the confidence interval is if you want it to only show you things when it's pretty sure it knows what it sees, then you set that confidence interval higher. Piston, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for being here. Okay, so that was it though. I was really impressed that that was it. And with that right there, with just that, with installing the DrZzs add-on and setting up that image processing, I had to have a camera set up as well. But with just that, I was able to start getting some image recognition stuff. It was awesome. I'm going to go here and look for image processing. If you look for the entity here, the image processing entity, now it hasn't detected anything in a while. Oh, the last thing it detected was a suitcase. And now it detects nothing again. So it just goes back and forth when it detects something. Let's see, what else did it find? Well, I don't know. There's other places you can get the information from. I don't know why this doesn't want to scroll, but anyways, right now it doesn't detect anything in the sync. Oh, there's a bunch of stuff. Oh, good. Look. So here's a bunch of things. You can see the history up here where it has detected stuff in the past. Okay. So just with that. So I'm trying to do this in a little bit unique situation because it's really not made to be recognizing dishes in the sink, right? It's made to be recognizing the difference between a dog and a person, or a car and a person, when you have motion like at your front door. So that's what it's set up to do. So for me, it's recognizing funny things, and it's not really turning out so great. But Lewis has a plan for that, huh, Lewis? We're gonna work that out. Here it is. Home Assistant frozen again. Son of a gun, man. Go throw some dishes in the sink. Exit the page. It's so lagaricious today. It's a lagathon. Let's look at the camera. Sync. So if we look at the sync camera, that's what it looks like right now. So like it's not recognizing that there's a pot in there. If I look at the sync pick, I also made a camera just like Lewis did that's supposed to recognize the objects. So right now it thinks that is a suitcase. It's not a suitcase. That is actually our like panini press, like the grilled sandwich press, or I think you can even open it and like cook pancakes and stuff on it. So that's what it's recognizing there as a suitcase. One of the funnier ones was there was a pan in here and it came back as airplane. And I thought, well, I guess I've had it thrown at me before, so maybe, it could be an airplane. So that part, we're going to get there, but it was really fun and really exciting to get that set up. So what did I do in the meantime? Because right now, as you can see, it didn't see the pan in there, right? We'll go back to that for a second. It doesn't recognize this pan in here. It recognizes this and thinks it's a suitcase. So this isn't quite ready for prime time. Well, I got Mark Rober waiting for me. Mark Rober's like, hey, DrZzs, where's your project, buddy? It's due. It's due. It was due last night. Come on, man. Get on it. What camera did I use? That's a great question, Prime UFO. I used the TT Go ESP32 camera. The one that I did actually for my little girl's doorbell a long time ago, like a summer and a half ago, this guy. It actually works really, really well. I've got to say, I did break the screen, unfortunately. So the screen is no longer working. But it's got a motion sensor. It's got buttons if you had it, in a place where you could reach. So it's really not too bad for a doorbell. And what else? The camera, You could power it from a battery there you want, or if you could power it from micro USB, which is what I'm doing. And then I've got it running ESP home. And in fact, I didn't even have to change the sketch. I just used the same sketch as I was using when I set up the doorbell. Yeah, it would be really good if I hadn't busted it. Yeah. What would the screen normally show? The screen can show whatever you want, depending on how you program it. I was using ESP home, and so I had something really simple like the date and the time. That's all it was showing. It's only like a monocolor, I think. So it's not going to show like an image very well, probably. But it can display information as a template. You can grab information from places and display that information. If you look at ESP Home, and if you look at the display, the display component, so you need to put stuff like this in there. And I don't have a great handle on what it can do. When I first set it up long ago, I just set it up with something simple that gave the date and time. But you can do, this gives you some examples for temperature and humidity if you wanted. You can make it so that it shows you the state of a sensor. So if you want it to show you, if you want it to show you the state of the sensor, like motion or something like that, motion detection, it can show you that. This does say you could show an image, but I didn't try that. I could have tried it before I broke it. Oops. I do have another camera, another ESP32 camera that has this on there. So this has been actually a really good use of this ESP32 camera, because I felt like the ESP32 cameras, when I tried them, they weren't reliable enough for me at the time to be like a functioning doorbell. The resolution wasn't so great. When you turn the resolution up, it got kind of laggy, and I kept getting them disconnected from the network. I think they might fall asleep if you're not looking at the feed or something. So I had a little bit of trouble with the ESP32 cameras, and so I wouldn't say that you're going to want to deploy them throughout your house as a security system. But this is a pretty unique situation, and really all I'm looking for here is object recognition and motion detection, actually, as you'll see in a second when I get to that part of how I made this work. So ESP32 camera, cheap, small. I can show you I'll send a picture of what I've got it, how I've got it mounted and such. Yeah, let's email myself a couple of pictures, and then I'll show them to you when they arrive. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. Too bad you can't airdrop from an iPhone to a PC. That'd be nice. Is that possible? What do you got here? DIY tech and repairs. What do you got? You're recommending something else? Put a decorative cover over the sink when it's empty. Something it recognizes, flowers or something. Yeah. So I think what we've got worked out, and I haven't finished implementing my side of it to help have Lewis's solution work. But what I believe we have with Lewis's genius help is the ability to recognize the empty sink. And so if it doesn't recognize the empty sink, as in like if these lines maybe that outline it are broken up by dishes piling up over the sides of it, then it can say, I don't see an empty sink. And by saying, I don't see an empty sink, we can infer that the sink is full of dishes. So that's, I think, where we're going with it. Funny, you just ordered ESP32 cam boards 30 minutes ago. Nice. They're good for some things. Again, they're not good for everything, but they're good for something. They're not going to replace your 4K security cameras and all that stuff. But for this kind of application, you want a lightweight camera. This is a great way to go. Hey, Quindor's here. How's it going, buddy? We're talking object recognition and ESP32 cameras. So, but back to what I was saying. This didn't quite cut it, right, as it stood. And I had to turn this into Mark Rober because he's waiting on me. Can't leave Mark Rober waiting. So what I did in the meantime was I went to Node Red. Where's Blade? He'd be so happy. Blade, are you here today? The faucet moving may drive it nuts seeing the sink. It might. So here's what I did. I basically substituted some of my own artificial intelligence for some of the computer artificial intelligence. And then I thought, oh, isn't that funny how we think of artificial intelligence differently? When you're talking about a computer's artificial intelligence, you're saying, oh, that's not it's not a human intelligence, right? It's from a computer. It's something constructed. When you're talking about my artificial intelligence, it's like faked. It's like, I'm not really intelligent. I'm just faking. But anyways, here's what I ended up doing. Okay. So that ESP32 camera board has a motion sensor on it. And it's here called the TTGo Cam PIR. So what I did was I set this up so that anytime it goes to true, it does a couple things. One, it takes a picture and then scans that picture for stuff. Okay. It scans it it processes the image, with the image processing, scan image processing. I'm not sure if that's working 100% or not, but I think it is. But it definitely is taking a snapshot, from that and putting it in the CCTV sync camera JPEG folder, which is a different folder from the other one that I was using, just because I was playing around with it a little bit. Config, CCTV, and then sync camera. So this is every time that it takes every time it sees motion, it takes a picture. Okay. And then I can reference that picture and do the motion detection from that picture, or the object detection from that picture. But I kind of have that running, as you can see, it's kind of running parallel here, and it doesn't go anywhere because it's not quite ready for prime time. But what is ready for prime time is human verification. I did put a filter in here so that it doesn't just constantly bing me every time that there's motion. I may change this, and maybe, there'll be some times a day where I'm like, I don't want to get, notification because somebody got up in the middle of the night, got a glass of milk and put it in the sink. I don't want to get a ping for that. But when it's within this time of day, then it will do this. It will send me a notification. So this is an iOS actionable notification. And it will send me a message that says, are there dirty dishes in the sink? And it will show me the picture. Oh, you guys can see my Nabu Casa address. I guess that's fine. Or some of it anyways. So it will show me this image, which is stored in my www folder. So it's accessible through the internet on Nabu Casa. You can go look at it if you want. Everybody can see my sink if you want. Let's see. It starts the push category sync. Now, if you remember, if you've played with the iOS notification stuff, it can be a little bit of a pain. It's a little bit of a pain. It's a little hard to set up. You can actually set up, I think you can set up the category and the actions in the app. And I tinkered with that a little bit, but I didn't want to spend a ton of time on this. Again, Mark Grober's waiting. He's not a patient guy. Actually, I think he's tremendously patient. Integrations, and then iOS. I have an iOS file here where I put all this stuff. iOS YAML. Okay. So in here, I created this category. So it's an iOS push category, and it's called sync. And in that sync category, I have 3 actions, which means I'm going to have 3 buttons. One button is called Sync Dirty. And it says, the title on it says, yep, shut it down. As in, because it's asking me the question, are there dirty dishes in the sink? If I see there are dirty dishes on that picture, then I can hit, yep, shut it down. And that will turn off all the internet and all that stuff. If I look at that picture and say, oh, the kid's finished doing the dishes, I have a, nope, that's a clean sink button, which will then turn everything back on. And then if I have, if it's nothing, if it's like a false alarm or the kids are in there doing the dishes or whatever, then I could just click this do nothing button, and really it doesn't go anywhere. It just stops at that point, shuts the thing down. This is running on my Nook right now, Thanasis. Yeah. And I think it's going to keep running on the Nook. In fact, we're probably going to be doing Deep Stack, in addition to Dudes, which is TensorFlow. That's the next thing that Lewis has in store for me. And I started looking at his directions and I got started. That's why Proxmox is open, because I just started an Ubuntu virtual machine for that part. So anyway, we've got then this human verification. It's checking out my iOS buttons here. And then what I did was inside here, let's see, Did I make those actions in here? Oh, I think I had to make those actions. Where did I make those actions? Because I had to make then an automation for each of those actions. Did I do that I think I did that. Oh, I know what I did. I set it up so that, because I wanted to try and do as much as I could in Node-RED. And so I basically just created an input Boolean that says dirty dishes, yes or no, basically. And the other reason for doing that is I want to make a button. So maybe we don't want to wait for this process. Maybe Mrs. Z's sees dirty dishes in the sink and she just wants to push a button on the tablet that says, hey, there's dirty dishes in the sink. Somebody get down here and clean them up, right? So that's why I have this input Boolean. So it's like a virtual switch. So anything else can switch it on, not just this right here. Then what I had to do was go into, did I do it in automations? Yes, I did. I did it in my automations, action notifications, and then I've got two automations here. One that says iOS action clean dishes and one that says iOS action dirty dishes. So the dirty dishes one references the action sink dirty. If you look back here, that's the same as this, sink dirty. So that's the link between these two. Basically what happens is if somebody presses this button, or if I press this button on my phone, then this happens. It triggers this automation. And I think there's a way you can do this. I was talking to Blade a little bit. You can do an event trigger in Node-RED also. I just didn't know how. So whatever. Anyway, so then all this action or all this automation does is turn on the dirty dishes input Boolean. So it turns on that virtual switch. And then you guessed it, the clean dishes one just does the opposite. It turns it back off. Okay. Easy, right? It's easy. What do you mean? What do you mean it took you 3-4 days to do this? You crazy, right? And then the last thing that happens here, you can see I actually didn't link it because I was playing with it last night, but we'll make it live now. It's live now, boys and girls. It is live now. And the nice thing about this is it won't go off unless I verify it, basically, at this point. So anyways, what are we doing here? So this is the payload message. So this feeds into, I'll show you what it says here. It says, yoo-hoo, there are dirty dishes in the sink. Let's see. I want to read the whole thing. Why can't I read the whole thing? Anyways, it says there's dirty dishes in the sink and the internet is turning off. It will turn back on when the dishes are done, is what it says. And that feeds out to my announcements, which goes here and gets announced on every Amazon Echo and every Google Home in the house. And then the internet off part turns off all those switches which were created by the Unifi integration. So it basically just turns off everything. Turns off everything that anybody would want to use to access the internet from inside the house. And then this just does the opposite of that. So pretty cool, right? Now, if you want to see what this human verification looks like, I will trigger it here with a timestamp and then take a picture and email it to myself. Done. Save to photos. And then I'll email it and then I'll show you these images so you can see. And then I will have actually the images for this and for what it looks like, the final install, what the final install looks like. And then I'll pay attention to chat again. Forgive me for not paying attention to chat. I really do like paying attention to chat. But maybe it's good that I've been focused, huh? Start installing cameras all over the roof. So what if the kids just start leaving the dishes on the counter? Yeah. Then I get a wider angle camera, Tom. The camera lens that's on here is just a sort of standard lens, but I do have a fisheye lens, which would take up most of the kitchen. I actually had the fisheye lens on there and I took it off because it was getting too much of the kitchen and I was getting notifications when people were like at the refrigerator and stuff. So I changed the lens out. The focus today is awesome. You like the focus? Oh, thanks. You're good enough. We'll party just for kicks. All right, let me find now my email. Did you guys want this? I think actually this is probably, if you look at the products page, I probably have this listed on the products page, but if not, either way, this is not an affiliate link. Oh, it won't let me post that. Wait, I can post it if I do this. Pow, pow. There's that camera. For those of you so inclined, before my retinas melt. All right, now we're going to look at the email. We're going to download the pictures. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Downloading a couple of pictures. Download. And download. All right. So here is my install. Let's check out the install here. So this is what it looks like from far away-ish, right? So it's not great, right? You got this cord here and stuff. But you can see I got this nice little mount I printed from Thingiverse. So, and it's all white, so you can't see it too much. I would like to put just a piece of white flat tape. I don't want to put like duct tape because I don't want to tear the stuff off the wall when I peel it off, but just a nice flat piece of tape would be nice up there for that. And then here's a close-up of what it looks like. So it's got the PIR sensor. Here's the broken screen, which was working until I put it in this case, and then I was just pushing too hard and I snapped. I heard something go snap, and I went, oh, that wasn't the case that went snap. And then I looked at it. Sure enough, there's a crack right down the middle. And then this is what it looks like when I get my actionable notification. Pretty cool, right? I gotta say, this is pretty awesome, man. I am pretty dang happy with it. And then we can trigger the announcement. Let's freak out the kids a little bit and trigger the announcement. You guys want to hear what happens when I trigger the announcement? Let's go back to Node-RED for a minute. And we're gonna disconnect this for now again, because I don't want to freak the kids out totally, but let's do it again. And this time I'll tell it to turn it off, and we can hear the kids totally freak out. Here it comes. Okay, are there dishes in the sink? Oh yeah, there's dishes in the sink. Here we go. Listen.
There are dirty dishes in the sink. The internet is now turning off. It will turn back on when the dishes are done and the sink is clean.
There's like one pan in there. Anyways, I think they probably know I'm kidding at this point, but that's what it sounds like. And then we'll do it again, and we'll turn it. We'll have it turn back on. We'll say it's clean.
Thank you for doing the dishes. The internet is now back on.
So let me tell. There's probably let's talk about two more things about this that I really enjoyed. The first easy one is I'm using Nabukasa, and that means I get to use the Google Cloud Say voices, right? And that's what you heard probably loudest here. You could also hear Alexa in the background maybe, but what you heard loudest right here on the Google Home Hub was this, and this is the language that I'm using, the English Great Britain lady. Sounds like, Mary Poppins or something. So playing around with those is super fun. Now, the other thing that I will tell you that I needed to do in order to actually get the image to show up, because when I was at home, the image was showing up fine. When I went to work, the image wasn't showing up on my phone. And it turned out that it was because in the phone app, in the Home Assistant Companion app, I was using my VPN, and then I just had my internal IP address set as the external address. So what was happening was with the Home Assistant app, you can set an internal or an external IP address. If you set an internal address, then it's going to also ask you internal to what? And then what that means is internal to your home network. So you have to tell it when you're connected to this Wi-Fi network, and you give it your name of your Wi-Fi network at home. When you're connected to this Wi-Fi network, then use the internal URL, which is your 192 whatever colon 8123, right? That you access from inside your home. The external address, I had it set up to just go through the VPN and not use Nabu Casa. Why? I don't even remember. But when it was set up that way, the images just would not appear. And I was like, what is going on there? I know they're working. I could pull up the images in a browser. So I knew that they were accessible, and I knew that it wasn't the network I was on that was blocking or nothing like that. And it turned out that that was it. When I changed that external URL to the Nabu Casa URL, to my Nabu Casa URL, then it worked. And it's been working beautiful ever since. So that was fun, huh? How do you turn off the internet? Shut down a smart switch. No, Mimer, it's, I'm using the integration, the Unifi Integration for Home Assistant. Unifi Integration for Home Assistant. So it's going to be router specific, right? If you don't have Unifi, then you don't have probably the same access to things here. Hey, buddy. Did you just get home?
Oh, yeah.
Happy Friday. How you doing?
Good.
Best day of the week, right?
Yep.
You're such a dad. I would totally do that if my kiddos still lived at home. You know, crazy editor, you could also set it up to do it at their house. No reason why you can't monitor their sync remotely and send messages to their Amazon Echoes telling them to clean it up. You need to just go over there and go, I just need to install this VPN here, kids, just to help you out. So what do you think? I have not been catching up on any questions, but if you've asked some questions, I can put them in here. Do you need to have the Unifi Cloud account enabled to be able to do this? I don't think so. I don't think you do, but I don't know 100%. I don't know 100%. I know that you need, I'm pretty sure you don't, because the IP address that you put into the configuration for this integration is just the local, your local router in your house IP address. And then you just use a login for your router, and you can make a new login. It doesn't have to be the main one that you use. You can make a new login specific for that, love you, bud, for that integration, but it just has to have admin privileges. So you have to make it like a super admin or something like that. And there you go. Wooter says no cloud account needed. Awesome. Can I give more info on the Unifi integration and how to block devices? Yeah, sure. We can go over that again. So if you have a Unifi router, then you can go to add integrations and you can add the Unifi integration. Ubiquiti Unifi. Okay, so you add that. It's probably gonna ask me to do it again. I'll tell you what you do here. Oh, this was important. Important. Okay, so for the host, you just put in the IP address of your router, right? For me, that was this. Okay, then you put the username that you used to sign in with and the password, blah, 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 blah. This was broken for me. This port was actually broken. It needed to be 443, not 8443. And that, I don't know what changed. Maybe there was an update to the Unifi controller software and the integration hasn't been updated. I'm not sure what that was about, but I had to take out the 8 in the port. It had to go to port 443, not port 8443. And I was pulling my hair out for like an hour until I finally found a post in the forums somewhere that said, try this. And once I tried that, it worked. And then when you do that, so once you do that, it will pop in here and basically it will just give you, it will take however many devices have been connected or are saved as connected devices in your Unifi controller. It will take that number of devices and it will make a device tracker for each one of those devices. And all that will tell you is whether that device is in your house or not in your house. Okay. If you want to create the switches to be able to turn on or turn off the internet or the network access to devices, you need to go down here to options. See if I can zoom this in for you. You go down here to options, and then it starts giving you, there's 3 pages of options. You see this Unifi options, page 1 of 3. So there's 3 pages of options. The first page is about, do you want to track the devices? I'm not using the Unifi component here, or the integration, to track whether or not devices are on my network. So I just took those off. I was hoping that would take away all those device tracker devices for all those different clients, but it didn't. Okay, whatever, fine. This is how you track them. If they're connected to this wireless network, then it's going to consider them home or whatever. And if they're outside of that wireless network, then it'll consider them away. But again, I'm not using any of this. So once you've made your decisions about device tracking, then you hit submit. This is where you create the switches. So this will help you to create switches for devices you want to control network access for. And those devices will be listed here. So when you go in here, it will show you all whatever. For me, it was 133, but it will show you all those devices and their MAC address. And you go in here and you just choose which devices you want it to block, or give you which devices you want it to give you a switch for. So I went through here and chose like my computer right here, my PC, Janice's iPad, my phone, Zoe's iPod Touch, which is actually Holly's now. I don't even know whose iPhone this is, some generic iPhone. Zach's phone, somebody else's generic iPhone, I don't know. Dawson's. Excuse me. This is the boys' computer where they play Minecraft and whatever else. And anything else. The Xboxes I put on here. Anything that I thought would be fun. So it won't, I didn't make them for every device. Just for the devices that the kids would use to access the internet and have fun when they should be doing the dishes, right? Right. Thank you, Rarky. I'm going to do this for you. Okay. So once you've selected all those devices, there's a couple other options here. If you wanted to allow PoE control of clients, I would guess that means power them off. Like if you had a Unifi switch that has PoE, maybe you could power some things off this way. I don't know. So I didn't click any of that because I don't have any of that. And then I didn't know what this meant for sure. Allow control of DPI restriction groups. I think that's something you set up in the controller. So if you set up a restriction group in the controller, I would expect that this would then give you a switch for that whole group. But anyways, yes, Jawbreaker, yes. That would get them out of doing the dishes if they knew how to spoof their MAC address. Okay, so then you submit that. You go on to the last one. The last page is where you get the option to create a sensor for bandwidth usage and for uptime. So I did that. I clicked that for both of those. So now for every client, not just those ones that I chose to make a network switch on and off for, but for any device that it detects, it also is creating a bandwidth usage sensor and an uptime sensor. So that's pretty awesome. And then you click submit. I'm not gonna. And then you click submit and it saves all that stuff. And when you first set up this Unifi integration, it will just show you the number of devices and it will have that number of entities. In order to get all that other stuff to happen, you got to do options and then go through those 3 screens. Okay. And there you go. And that's it. Can I also use it for time limit over the parental controls? Good question. Is that something you are using Unifi for? Or are you talking about the iPhone app? Xbox integration to limit child use. I haven't played with the Xbox integration in a long time. I don't know how well it works. So we could play with it and see. Oh, look at that. Okay. Done. The account is now linked. Okay. That was easy. Oh, sweet. So there we go. Okay. There it is. Devices at 164 entities. This is very new. I have not seen this before. So Xbox Live. Oh, look at that. Shows all my friends. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, this is new. So that shows my Xbox Live account. And then here we've got, wow, this is awesome. So I suppose you could get information here. Yep, I bet you could. So what you could do, so here you go. Who was asking about this? Rarky? Having not done this, but just looking at what is available for you already, I would say that you could do an automation that monitors this switch and determines whether it's on or off and for how long. So this looks like Dawson just went in and turned the Xbox on, right? So the history, well, the history's state will show up eventually. So I would hope that it's going to keep history here and it's going to know when it's on or off. So what you can do is set an automation so that when it's on for a certain period of time, it triggers the automation. And it could trigger the automation if it's in just one block or if it's in a certain amount of time over 24 hours. Those are kind of template things you'd have to work out. Maybe Node-RED could do that fancier. I don't know. But it looks like you can also turn it off right here. Should we try and see? Dawson, are you on the Xbox? Let's try this other one and see. Let's look at the other. Come on now. There we go. Let's try this Xbox One S. So it looks like it's off right now. So if I hit this, it should turn it on. Should. Still says off. Whoa. Wow, look at that. I can turn it on and tell it what to play. Holy cow. This is crazy. Crazy good. Except it's not turned on yet. Text to speak? Oh, there it goes. I turned it on. You can turn up the volume. You can turn down the volume. You could probably mute it. I wonder. Huh. This is interesting. I've never played with this before, so I don't know what all it can do or how well it can do it, but it's pretty cool. And then the remote. I'm sure if you go up here, it's probably going to give you a bunch of stuff. Xbox remote. I wonder if this is how you would turn it on and off. Paused. So this one's not keeping history, it doesn't look like. So anyways, I don't know much about it, but it looks very promising. Media player as well. So it's making it a media player, right? It's kind of how it's functioning. This could work with an Orange RPi 1 plus OpenWRT. You know what? I don't know, Eric. It's all going to be dependent on whether or not there's a way with OpenWRT to control device connection in Home Assistant. And I don't know. I don't know what other integrations there are. I mean, we can look at Home Assistant integrations and see what network stuff there is and how it works. Oh, sorry. Blinded by the light. Let's see. Is there a network? Yeah, network. So it looks like you've got, here's some of the, so AdGuard I don't think will do it. I don't know about any of these. Netgear, so Netgear might, if you have a Netgear router. Maybe Vilfo, whatever Vilfo is. Start CA, I don't know what that is. So you'd probably have to have, what's up, buddy?
Are you using that?
No, you gonna?
Yes.
Okay, where are you going?
Shooting a...
Do you want the mic? Yes.
Mic.
Do you want anything else? If you want that, make sure you get that little screw thing in it.
Mm-hmm.
What are you're gonna go shoot things?
But yes, so for Governor Civ, we have to shoot a little PSA. Is that what it's called?
Oh, you have to shoot like a
It's like a don't do drugs sort of thing.
Oh, cool. Oh, a public service announcement?
That's what it's called. And this. I'm sorry.
They're like, Zach, you're stealing our dude.
No. And then can we put that on a tripod? Is that possible?
Yeah. This is not the right one. I showed him your goofing around. So if you wanted to put that on a tripod, you do this. Do you want to clip it on your shirt, or are you just going to carry it? Just carry it. Yeah. I would say just use this, and then you unclip this.
Yeah. Yeah, this was the first thing that I put in.
All right, you should be good. And I charged up the battery, so you should be good.
Alrighty.
Hopefully it goes well.
Yep.
Okay.
Did we? Alright.
I'm already done with the.
You're already done with it?
Yeah, I used it, and I showed everybody your footage yesterday. So.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Zach's on his way. Hey, Blade, how you doing, buddy? Look, you should see my Node Red goodness, Blade. Look at my Node Red goodness. My Node Red goodness. I did. You'd been so proud. You know, when I was asking about, does anybody do, the iOS actionable notification stuff in Node Red? I did it and I didn't do it. I kind of mixed and matched. I did a little bit of this. Look at that masterness. I'm actually like, I'm trying to make it my go-to. Like that's where I'm going to start. So we'll see. You know, there was, in this case, I ran into something I couldn't do. Is Node-RED available on Android? Nick, Node-RED is an add-on for Home Assistant. I mean, it can run independently and it can run on its own. I don't know about, I mean, it can integrate with Android, I'm sure, in a few ways, but I don't know if it runs on Android. Oh, you're not asking, you're telling it is available on Android. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, Node-RED is its own thing. You don't have to have Home Assistant to use Node-RED. It just pairs really well with Home Assistant. All I need is to stop their internet for all devices when they finish the playtime. Yeah. So what do you, Prime UFO, what do you have for a router? Hey, Kenneth, how you doing? Final for Handball World Championships. Whoa. Nice. Way to go, Denmark. What's that? Oh, yeah. You can do a good job about that. So it sounds like Zach has a class assignment about littering, and the toy room up here has become... So Jackson, our oldest, he left on his mission. He's in Arizona. And he has some friends that were Zach's friends also that still come over almost every day. 2 or 3 of them that come over almost every day, and they just have adopted Zach. They hung out with Zach before anyways, but now that's, you know, they play in the Xbox room over there, and they hang out and they drink Mountain Dew and they leave Taco Bell wrappers everywhere, and it's awful. So he just grabbed a handful of garbage to carry outside to use for the camera that we were talking about at the beginning of the stream to do a video about littering. So, of course they come to your house. You've got all the fancy toys. Yeah, it's true. It is true. Where in Arizona? You're in Arizona, Raspy? Oh, did we not talk about this? Right now he's in Apache Junction. Mesa is his mission, but he's in Apache Junction right now. How to litter. Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness. Razor Girl. Hello from Australia. How are things in Australia? How's it going down there? How's the future? Is it good? Is tomorrow going to be a good day? That's all I need to know. And the lottery numbers. You can get them for me. Thank you. You made for the doctor this text to speech. I can't. Oh, I've got it here too. this text to speech button. I don't remember. This was just, I don't remember what this did. Oh no, maybe that was, I don't remember what that did. I think what you need is, I'm sure Blade can get it to you, but what you need is it this? No, that's where you put the text. And then it checks the time. Yeah. It basically just passes the payload on to each of these, and then this is where the magic happens. It basically takes the payload and sends it on the announce platform to each of the different media player notify services. That's for those. Google Home is a little easier. It's just the message and the payload, and you identify the entity. I could probably just list all the entities and do it just in one, but I do this so I can change the languages on them. Although I think I'm gonna, after having like Russian and Hindi and a real strong Irish accent, I changed it back to Great Britain. Speaking of real strong Irish accent, are you still here? You still here, Lewis? You sent me a picture. I don't have my email open. I purposefully don't open my email while I'm streaming because sometimes I open it accidentally. Accidental location. Oh my goodness. What's happening? Oh, yep, you got it. Tech Turtle, those are very special stickers, my friend. Very special. So Lewis has been trying to teach. Oh, yep, he's still here. So Lewis has been trying to get it to recognize a dirty sink. And he's, bless him, he's worked, I don't even know how many hours in the last couple of days when I'm sure he was going to do something else with his time. But because I asked him, he's been helping me try and figure this out. So he's been trying to get TensorFlow to learn what the difference between the dirty and the full sink is. And then I guess it seems like DeepStack might be the better way to go for learning a new thing. And so what we're doing next, what I'm going to do is follow his very concise 17-step instructions, which he spent a lot of time putting together. So I absolutely am going to try this out. But basically it's going to be running Ubuntu and then DeepStack as a virtual machine on my Nook. And then trying to use that to process the... It's so funny how it wants to go back to that. To process the images. And the other thing I'm going to do is just take a bunch of different snapshots, as I was telling you, from here. This guy, right? Which nothing has changed, right? There's the same frying pan, the same panini press, the disciplinarian. Maybe that's what it thought was an airplane. So good times, good times. You know what else I can tell you? What I'm also going to do, I'm going to get... So Reolink has a new camera. I don't even think it's on their website yet. But Reolink has a new camera. Yeah, it's not even on here yet. It's the E1, but it's outdoors. So it's basically this, but it's now made to be used outside. And it's using their new onboard object recognition stuff, right? So a lot of their cameras now have this onboard recognition, which I think Hookup Rob talked about in his video about cameras. And so they asked me if I wanted one, and I've been saying no to pretty much everything. I mean, it's different with Banggood because Banggood says, hey, pick anything you want. So I'm like, okay, I can pick what I want. That's easy. When somebody's like, hey, do you want to review this other light strip or this other smart switch or this other whatever car thing, I just like, pfft. But they asked me about that camera, and I thought, ooh, I could use that because now all my other cameras are Reolink. I could use that. I could put it at the front door, And it could integrate into my NVR, but because it's also RTSP, it could integrate into Home Assistant, and it could do things like that. I could see how it compares to like TensorFlow as far as object recognition, because I could grab the images or whatever. So what I think I'm going to do is use it sort of as my doorbell camera. And then I'll just have a button for a doorbell that actually just rings the chime. And then we can look at that camera and see what's going on out there. And then I'm going to get one of these also. They said they would send me one of these. And this I'm going to put up at the property up at Aidendale, because we completely lost communication now with the $300 camera that I bought to put up at Aidendale. I would expect it's still up there. My thought is it just got so cold that it stopped functioning, because I have not seen new pictures from it in about 3 days now. And the last I saw, it was going from, it was at 100% battery charge, and it was at 80% battery charge in like an hour. Technobabble, thank you for following or subscribing, whichever one that was. The battery Rio links don't like minus 30C. I don't think it's going to get that cold. I think this other one should have done okay, but anyways, it didn't. Doorbells that require button press. What is this, the 19th century? That's true. Just have it chime when it detects something. But will you have intercom if you do that? Well, I'm pretty sure that it's not even listed here. They don't even have it on their website yet. But I'm pretty sure that this Wi-Fi camera, yeah, see, it's not even showing it. I guess it would be this, but the outdoor version, it should have, yeah, it's got two-way audio. I don't know how good it's going to be, but it will have two-way audio, so that's fine. Can someone remind me again how the dock animated his Lovelace icons, the leaf icon? It's, if you go to my gist, it's in there. Gist GitHub. And if you look through all of mine, it's there. You probably have a button for this. Yeah, it's a custom card. Yeah, my crappy Ring doorbell doesn't like 0 degrees. Yeah. Secrets, anyone? Thank you, sir. Good enough. Anyways, it's in here. So you can scroll down and grab it. Spinning Lovelace button right here. There's really not much to it. Oh, somebody left a comment. Hope the wedding went well, something. But basically, it's just a part of the custom button card. And then you just set the icon, and then you set it to spin false for normal, and then spin true. I didn't probably have to put spin false, but I put spin true on the yellow. So right now, because it's charging, it's spinning. And when it's disconnected, it flashes red. So it does this animation, blink 2 second, ease, infinite. So it just goes whoosh, whoosh, whoosh in red when it's not plugged in. And then when it's plugged in and it's charging, then it's just green and it just says, it's charging. So pretty slick. So that's that. That's what I came to talk about today. How did we do? Did you ever hear from Chris from Crosstalk Solutions? I don't think I did, Kenneth. He was the, I've watched his videos. He's the Unifi genius, right? Is he the Unifi genius, or is that somebody else? Is that Lawrence? Maybe that's Lawrence I'm thinking of. All right, what do we got for cuestiones, preguntas? And then I don't mind if I finish a couple minutes early today, since I am pretty tired. And we're having another chat with the Hobbit Hole architect tonight. Not Hobbit Hole architect, the castle architect tonight. The Hobbit Hole is underway. The Hobbit Hole, I have submitted plans to the county, and they wanted first the contractor wanted the plans in inches instead of metrics. So I had to go back to the people that are making the plans for the dome parts, and they're in Mexico. So they sent me plans in metrics. So that shouldn't be too bad. But he also needed structural engineering to verify that the dome could withstand 53 pounds of snow, which I'm reasonably sure it can. It can hold a person. So 53 pounds per foot, like square foot or something. I don't know how much. I don't know what that means exactly. But anyways, he had to do that. They're working on that part. But the septic hole should be started, should be tested soon. And then we'll be underway. That's why I got to get this camera going so that we can watch the progress all together, right? We can watch it together. Is the Unifi integration running on the blue? Oh, Seamus, it is actually also running on the blue. Yes, I did set it up on the blue also. I definitely need to make the transition. Yeah. So. Next question. Missed the start. How good is the Fimi compared to the DJI? I don't know how to compare them, Piston Broke. I don't know how to compare them, but I think the DJI is quite a bit more expensive. The Fimi one is $170. I don't remember if Banggood sells the DJI one or not. Oops. DJI Gimbal Cam. My guess is it's not as good. I would just assume that here, that's like a lens for the camera. So none of these are for the camera itself. So I wonder what that camera costs. So from Amazon, it's $336. $250 from BH Photo. I don't know if I didn't think mine was waterproof. So if it's waterproof, if the DJI one is waterproof, that's a whole nother monster. We looked at we watched some footage. Yeah, and it only does 4K 30 frames per second. That's probably a big one. I don't know about the microphone. I know the microphone on the Fimi is not great. The Fimi does do the active track, and it works pretty well. Like, it'll track your face, or somebody's face pretty well. I thought the battery life seemed kind of short on the Fimi. So, but for $150 less, you got to make the call there. I won't tell you that absolutely you should get the Fimi instead of the DJI, but I think so far, even though I didn't pay for it, I think $170 I'd be happy enough with the Fimi. Could I possibly give a super quick lightning tour of the integrations I have installed? Ooh, Shark Tamer. Yes, sure. Super quick lightning tour of the integrations I have installed. And I will tell you that I have sort of a video planned for integrations, basically. And it's based on when I started with the blue, I went through in my mind, what is the most important things and what do I want to convert over and what do I want to not convert over? Okay. And I made some notes about that. So I can go through these quick. AdGuard. So AdGuard is like Pi-hole. It's basically a network filter, and we use it for, porn filter, and that's about it, I guess. Oh, it does filter ads specifically too for like YouTube and stuff like that. I've wondered sometimes if this hasn't caused some of my MDNS problems, that the reason I can't go to like WLED.local, it might be because of this, but I don't know for sure. Alexa Media Player is a must-have. Gotta absolutely have, no doubt about it. If you have an Alexa, you need this. Almond, honestly, I'm gonna delete it because I've not used it. I tried Almond and it just wasn't ready for prime time. Almond is supposed to be like a text to what would you call it? A text to action. So it's not text to speech, but you say, turn on the garage lights, and it's supposed to recognize that and do that thing, right? All in Home Assistant without going to Amazon or Google. And when I looked at it, it's been a year, maybe not quite a year, but it's been close to that. And it just wasn't quite ready for prime time. There was a lot of setup you had to do, and it wasn't really recognizing things. And so, at least for me, and that's often because I do things wrong. So, this integration is Pinky's. This is Pinky Wafer's anniversary integration, and basically you can put in there special events, and then it will give you sensors in Home Assistant that will count down to those things. It will tell you how long until the next one, or how long since the last one, of all these different things. So good things for like anniversaries or anything else that you want to remember. So that's just a fun little integration that Pinky Wafer Jenny made that I like to use. So the Broadlink integration works so good now. So good. So good. So if you have a Broadlink Pro or Mini and you want to use infrared or RF codes, it works now really well. So I would say, wow. If you don't mind spending a little more money, and it's not much. I don't remember what the newest RM Pro is. Maybe it's $30 the most, something like that, 30 something for the RM Pro. If you don't want to open up and flash the Sonoff RF bridge, or if you want infrared, if you want an infrared bridge so that your infrared remote control devices will work with Home Assistant, you're going to have a hard time beating the Broadlink. If you want just infrared, just get the Mini. And if you want infrared and RF or 433 megahertz, then get the Pro. And it works pretty well. It's solid now. I can tell, we can officially tell Paul Hibbert that it's okay to use Home Assistant and the Broadlink integration now. It works that well. This is for our printer, which I never really use. I said, oh, look, it recognized my printer. So I installed it, but I think it will tell you if you're out of toner and stuff, but I don't really use that very much. Foscon, this is decons for Zigbee. So this is right now using my Combi 2 Zigbee dongle to connect a bunch of Zigbee devices. Looks like it has 17 devices connected. So it's okay. I think, again, that was the first Zigbee that I used. I think now I'm pretty happy with ZHA. So rather than decons, Foscon, I think I would use ZHA, but it's a perfectly legitimate option. ESP Home, if you're a DIYer, if you want to take, like I did, the ESP32 camera or a regular D1 Mini or whatever, and turn it into your own project, ESP Home is a great way to go. It's the documentation is really good. It's pretty simple to set up. Just about any sensor, switch, affector, whatever. It's pretty seamless, and it integrates directly through the Home Assistant API, so there's no MQTT or anything in between. And I've been pretty happy with it. So you can see I've got a lot of ESP Home devices. So if you're not gonna, get out your own sort of circuit board thing and kind of hack together some sensors and stuff, then you might not ever use ESP Home. You can also use ESP Home on like Sonoff devices or other switches that run Tuya or something. You can change the firmware from whatever it is to ESP Home. But I typically use ESP Home for sort of from scratch devices. So there you go. Font Awesome is another set of icons, like MDI icons, that has some new ones. A lot of them you have to pay for, which I don't do, but there are some free ones. So if you look at some of my fun icons, like I got this 20-sided dice icon here, like the D&D icon here. There's a few others that show up like that. They're Font Awesome icons. Font Awesome, I think there was, I don't remember if this was part of that whole security problem or not, but I think it might have been part of that security problem. Google Cast, I don't remember installing this specifically, but I guess this makes it so you can send your Home Assistant stuff to a specific device. I believe. So you can send things from here to a Google screen, basically. At least I think that's what it is. Honestly, don't know. I don't use it very much, obviously. Hacks, you got to have. Home Assistant Community Store, you got to have it. Got to have it. iOS, if you have iPhone, got to have it. HomeKit, meh. I set it up to use, I don't even know if it's working, is it? I set it up a long time ago, and I don't know that I've done anything with it in a long time. I did it because people were asking, so I set it up a long time ago. But I would not put that down as necessarily. Hyperion. If you got Hyperion, you got to have this because this lets you control Hyperion like a switch in Home Assistant, and also like a light, so you can change colors and do stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. I don't know about this. Oh, it looks like this was another camera. This is a camera picture printer that we have in the house. I don't know if you need that or not. This is this does air quality in your area. So this tells you about like allergens and stuff in your area, air quality based on your area code, or zip code. Sorry. So it's useful. Especially in like the spring and summertime, it gives you an idea of how bad it's going to be outside. So that's good. This is my charging system for the electric car. So this tells me when the electric car is plugged in. It tells me things like how much juice it's put into the car and important stuff like that. So here's what it is. It tells me, so it's, and I can override it and tell it to charge right now with this. So right now it's 81 degrees inside that little box. It's 240 volts. It's charging currently at 1.5 kilowatts right now at this moment. And it has added, it should be almost fully charged. Oh, look at that. It might have just gotten ready to shut off. Maybe it was just topping off because it added 17.5 kilowatts to the battery, and it's a 30 kilowatt battery that was probably down to 15% or so, 10 or 15% when I got home last night. So anyways, it's pretty cool. And it gives you this, how long it's been charging. So you can get an idea of how fast and stuff like that. So very useful if you have an electric car. That's the integration for that specific. It used to be JuiceNet, and then somebody else bought them. So it's got a different name now. And then we're getting close. Connected alarm panels. If you haven't used those are basically a Node MCU with some screw terminals. Oh, speaking of, look what I did. Looky what I did. I went ahead and bought the screw terminal hat for my Mega alarm board. So this is going to be by Ethernet connected MQTT alarm board plus thermostat. So this is going to control the heat and the air conditioning and the zones, a bunch of different zones for the alarm. And it sends MQTT messages to Home Assistant, and it does it over Ethernet instead of Wi-Fi. So this will replace, what did I decide that's going to replace? 3 or 4? That'll replace 3 or 4 Wi-Fi boards. And I got this. This was like $15 on Amazon or something, so that I could screw in the leads for the alarm system a lot easier. Oh, just scratched my desk. All right. Life 360 is great for tracking. I use that to track. I know that the mobile app does tracking very well nowadays, but I use that. I use Life 360. This is another weather system. MQTT Mosquito. Another weather system. Ring, which I don't really think is even connected really. Roku. You can control the devices like a media player. The Shelly integration is brilliant. Spotify integration I don't really use. I connected it, but I don't really use it. Tasmota integration now is fan-flippin-tastic, especially if you update all your Tasmota devices to 9.2. Use that. It is awesome. Tile, because we do have some of those like don't lose your keys tile things, although I think they're pretty much all dead batteries now. Every one of them is over 2 years old now. Tuya, The 2U integration, yeah, this is good. It works well. And it can work offline as well. So if you don't want to flash, you can use this. I'm using it for some devices, not a ton. And then we just talked about the Unifi one. We've been talking about that today. Volumio, I love my Volumio. This is an audio player that's running on a Raspberry Pi and connected to some speakers. The Raspberry Pi has to connect to the speakers, but then it's basically a media server for your house. And then WLED, I got a whole bunch of those. We just installed Xbox, and then this is ZHA. Whew. What's special about 9.2, Jeremy? 9.2 can be auto-discovered and auto-connected to Home Assistant with the Tasmota integration. If you have an older version, it doesn't automatically. I don't even know how you connect it otherwise. I guess you have to create the switches yourself. It used to be with Tasmota, you had to go into your YAML and create the sensors or create the switches. And then you could use MQTT Discovery, which worked pretty well, but didn't give you a ton of control and didn't give you all of the possible sensors and stuff. But with Tasmota 9.2 and this Tasmota integration, it's brilliant. It gives you, it like immediately recognizes and pulls in new devices, just like ESP Home or anything else. So it's really good. It is actually pretty awesome. I always have said, especially with Tasmota, don't bother updating unless there's like something going wrong or there's some new feature that you just have to have. To be honest, this is a feature I just have to have. Like, I'm going to be updating all of my Tasmota devices as I make the transition to the blue, because I want them to all just be auto-discovered like that. It still uses MQTT for control. It doesn't use like the Home Assistant API, but it just uses it. Yeah, if you have a switch or a temp sensor attached, it's just there. You don't have to do anything. It's really good. It is really good. What kind of devices is this with all those apps? Max Gun. This is Home Assistant. This is an open source home automation platform. You can run on a Raspberry Pi or several different other things. And this is a lot of what I talk about. So if you're here for the first time, welcome. And we talk about a lot of this. We talk about this and LEDs and whatever else, guys. Electric cars and dome houses and parenting. Can't resist not updating. Well, in the early days, Athemi, I used to break things. Every time I wanted to update something, it broke. And so I just stopped. I stopped updating it. So even the iFan 0302 covers, really, they work pretty well, huh? To your local. Little bit of pain getting your local key for each device, but great once you have it. A lot faster. Cool. Have I changed WLED presets with MQTT? Can you change them? With MQTT, I would expect you can, but explain to me, Jason, what you would do. Yeah, and squirrels and squirrels and squirrels and squirrels. With WLED, you should be. Oh, that's one more thing too to talk about. Oh, it's almost 3:00. Well, we'll talk about that another time. So with WLED, I guess are you not using the integration? Because if you use the Home Assistant integration, you should be able. Can you change presets there? I don't know. Change WLED presets. You mean change it to another different preset? Yeah, I'm sure you can do that. The way to find out what you can do and can't do is WLED wiki and HTTP request API page. So that's this page here. Sorry, melt your retinas. So that's this page here. And this will tell you what you can do and can't do and stuff. So I have one switch with 3 buttons and want each one to send MQTT message to change to different presets. Oh yeah, you should be able to do that. I think, let's look here at presets. Nope. Parameter. Let's search for preset. Yep, here you go. applies the entire preset. So your payload, when you do that, your payload, it may have other things in it, but it should say PL equals and then the number of the preset that you want it to activate for that button. Use a call service node. You can do that too. Use a call service node instead. Yeah. That would be going through Home Assistant. You could go, I mean, I don't know if you're using MQTT a different way, but you could do that. All right, let's answer these couple questions. Squirrel question. I had the Home Assistant app on my old cell phone. I've upgraded my phone, but the entity IDs are still referencing my old phone. Is there a way to update automagically? Can you delete the app on your old phone? Maybe change the name on one of them? I think this may be old stuff, but the entity name used to be defined by a name that you gave your device and I thought it was in the app. So if you give your device a different name in the app, then it will look at it as a different entity in Home Assistant, I think. Can you manually delete YAML the device trackers file unknown? Oh, you can manually take out what you don't want, delete it. It will rebuild the current ones. You can just rename it for testing. So that's for the Unifi thing. Your Alma description got me thinking. What can you even do with Home in terms of voice and Home Assistant other than telling it to turn on off switches and stuff? Shark Tamer, you can do. It depends on the integration. It depends on what somebody has set it up to be able to do. You can make up custom routines where you say a specific phrase that you create. You do this in the Alexa app, and that will then affect a change. You would do all this in the app, in the Alexa app. But if you have Nabukasa or if you have your Home Assistant entities linked with She Who Shall Not Be Named, then she can control those things. What can you do? I don't know. I know with WLED, you can do things like set the preset, change the color, set the brightness, change the effect, I believe. Or maybe it's the effect and not the preset you can do. I can't remember which. But you can do some of those things. I think in some cases you can set the temperature if you have it set up right. I think you can tell her turn it up or turn it down a certain temperature. You should be able to tell her to show you certain cameras, but that's not necessarily a Home Assistant thing, I don't think. Considering you can flash Tasmota over the air to Shelly's, it's up to you. Blackadder. Oh, how's it going, buddy? Thanks for being here. When am I streaming again? I will be streaming again Sunday. Yep. Calendar has 1:30 Sunday as well. Yep. Just want to confirm. Very rare to get 2 streams in the same week. Yep. Now it's connected that I wanted to ask more about. Would it be good for converting my dumb alarm that was in the house when I got here? Thanks for the lightning tour, even if it turned into not so lightning. The problem with the lightning, that was a lightning tour just because if I spend 30 seconds on every add-on, it's going to be 15 minutes, right? Yeah, connected is a good system for your old alarms, especially if they are, or specifically, I guess, if they are wired sensors. If you have wired sensors, then I would say yes, go with connected or, something fun like this. Now, that's it. That's all we got time for today. We got an appointment at 3:00 to talk to our castle architect lady. So we are going to sign off. It's time for sign off. It's time for sign off. It's time for sign off.
It and #39. S time for sign off. It and #39. S time for sign off.
She doesn't like.
39. S time for
she doesn't like it's time for sign off. It's and #39S for sign off. Honestly, not 100% sure, but I think they're wired. Yeah, if they're wired, then great. If they're not, then I don't know. That'll depend on what they are. They're probably RF if they're not wired. Okay, how do you want to sign off today?
I don't know.
I don't know. Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. Should we sign off like regular people? Oh, look at you. You each have one. Oh, so cute. So cute. So cute. Oh. Maybe for Sunday, Blade and Sir Goodenough, maybe for Sunday, we can talk about this. I have panels for matrices. Yep. And I've got a board on the way to run them. So, all right, let's just sign off. Ready? As always, thanks for watching. Until next time, adios. Have a good one, everybody. See ya Sunday.